maybe discuss later about our join or maybe the collaboration in the future. Okay, for the first, I want to show you the CV about our speaker. Actually, for me, Dr. Maihani is not so. Yeah, I already know her because she's my senior, kakak tingkat atau senior di Kyoto University. Begitu pula Ibu Ani ya, kita satu lab, satu permainan, satu tempat belajar gitu ya di Kyoto. Dan mungkin sudah lama juga kita sudah tidak berdiskusi ataupun tidak bertemu ya karena pandemi dan lain sebagainya. Saya juga belajar banyak dengan beliau ini, Dr. Maihani. Izinkan saya share screen sebentar. Kok ada kayak suara lain ya? Mas Heri mungkin bisa tolong.
Ya Mas, bentar.
Oh iya, ada ini ya. Tolong yang lain harap di ini ya, speakernya harap di mute dulu. Nanti ada kesempatannya, jangan khawatir, yang sabar ya. Nanti kalau question and answer session, nah tolong itu nanti banyak yang nanya ya. Karena ini tidak main-main, maksudnya kesempatan yang langka gitu ya. Beliau sibuk juga, busy person ya.
Sudah Mas Fazli ya?
Ini langsung saja menuju ke beliau, Dr. Maihani Ismail ya nama lengkapnya, current position-nya manager dalam health ya, yang sudah saya sampaikan sebelumnya di grup HSE atau Health Safety and Environment Petronas Kuala Lumpur Malaysia. Beliau background-nya yaitu Bachelor of Engineering di Chiba University Japan, and then Master of Engineering in Environmental Engineering di University in air sampling and lab analysis of VOCs, PM 2.5 bound pH and metals, air dispersion modeling, human health assessment, ini di Indonesia ini kandungan air, udara, tentang uang pernah proses dan terus pernah capability management dan environmental health expert. Jadi saya explain ya, environmental health sector apa ini, sudah sangat spesial sekali ya, karena yang di Indonesia dia environmental expert atau gitu, tapi ini sudah sangat spesialisnya sudah sangat deep gitu ya, environmental health subject matter expert gitu ya. Nanti mungkin juga bisa di lain ya. Oke, tanpa berlama-lama lagi saya persilakan ya, saya stop share dulu Ya, sekali lagi siapkan pertanyaan terbaik kalian ya. Siapa tahu nanti di invite ke Petronas Malaysia ya. Dan ini juga untuk sekedar kembali mengingatkan refresh Dr. Mehani, our participant is from civil engineering and mostly from environmental engineering. Jadi mix ini participants-nya. Terima kasih juga Mbak Tuna ya, sudah membantu dalam selenggaranya sharing. Baik, saya persilakan. Time and screen is yours, Dr. Mayani.
Sorry, is that my cue to to talk? Because dia putus-putus tadi a bit. Okay, so I'm on the spotlight. All right, so I'll be sharing my screen. Hold on, yeah. Fajri, I think you need to allow me to share screen.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm not able to share my screen right now.
Oh, not able. Okay. Mas Heri ini kenapa ya? Kok nggak bisa? Udah jadi
bisa Mas, coba Mas.
Can you try again?
Yeah, it's the share button is it doesn't. I mean, it's cannot click it. I only click cancel.
Masih belum bisa.
Belum boleh.
Kenapa ini ya Mas Heri? Padahal udah jadi kursi.
Sudah dibuka semuanya Mas, sebenarnya settingan ini.
We already open the access.
Okay, I'll try again. How about now?
Okay, yeah.
All right. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, hold on. Let me just open my. Okay, now is it just technical check? Can you see my screen, and is it a whole screen or is it a presenter's view?
Whole screen.
Whole screen. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay, so I will begin. Thank you for Dr. Fajri and Dr. Ani for inviting me to this guest lecture. I think good morning and assalamualaikum everybody. I can see there's a lot of people joining. It's making me nervous, but I will try my best to give a good presentation. I'm hoping that the students can benefit from this presentation, and just now, Dr. Fajri did say about the potential collaboration. So we welcome potential collaborations with higher institutes, especially global. But of course, being a company, there are certain limitations, and thus we need to discuss further about it. Okay. All right. So my presentation today, I will deliver my presentation in English if that is okay. Maybe there's going to be mixed some Bahasa Malaysia in my presentation. I hope that we can be on the same page. And my presentation today is on HSE risk assessments in the oil and gas industry. Okay. All right. I was having a bit of trouble listening to Dr. Fajri's introduction of me just now, and I saw that there are some comments that there are some kind of interruptions. The line is not very clear. So I will just go through very quickly on my profile. My name is Maihani Ismail. I'm currently serving as Manager Environmental Health in Group HSE in Petronas Petroleum National Berhad is Malaysian national oil and gas company, and I'm currently am based in Kuala Lumpur. My education background is I started with doing my bachelor's of engineering in Japan. I graduated in 2004, so you can imagine my age now. The studies was to explain it more simply is about materials for electronics. So there's a lot of chemistry involved. And once I'm back in Malaysia after graduation, I joined Epsocom as an environment executive. So even though my studies were in materials for electronics, but I joined as environmental executive. So that's where I got the first taste of HSE, health, safety, and environment, and I was keen into progressing in HSE. So Epson Toycom is I think you might know about Epson, the printers. So in Malaysia, we make chips for electronics chips for all our electronics gadgets. And further, after about two years and a half, I moved on to become a process and production engineer for a chemical plant, Shinetsu. It's also a Japanese company based in Malaysia. So we did a lot of there. I learned a lot about the chemical industry. So after I think about 4 years plus in Shinetsu, I pursued other works, and in 2012 I joined Petronas as I was doing capability management for health, safety, and environment fraternity. So I'm back doing HSE. After 3 years, I furthered my studies in environmental engineering in Kyoto, Japan, because the company there are some new areas that the company would like to venture on. They were looking for expanding into environmental health. So I was sent to further my studies in environmental engineering in Kyoto University. That's where I met Dr. Ani as well as Dr. Fajri. And I graduated from my master's in 2018. And I furthered doing my PhD and came back in 2021. So when I came back, I furthered I am now sitting in the the place where I went for my studies, which is environmental health. So I'm the one of the subject matter expert for environmental health in Petronas. Okay. So I have about in total 18 years of working experience. This is my 11th year in Petronas, and well, 5 of the 11 years was in Kyoto. So this is actually my 6 years in Petronas in Malaysia. All right, moving on. Okay, so this is a disclaimer. I'm from Petronas, so it's we are requested to give disclaimer if we were to give presentations outside. So I'll just read this as a whole. The Petronas groups adopt zero tolerance against all form of bribery and corruption. All employees are to abide by the Petronas Code of Conduct and Business Ethics, anti-bribery and corruption, guided by our shared values and statement of purpose. For the presentation, all rights are reserved. No part of this document may be reproduced in any form possible, stored in retrieval system, transmitted and or disseminated in any form by any means, whether digitally, mechanically, hard copy, recording, or otherwise, without the permission of the copyright owner. I would like to reiterate all information in this document and presentation is under my personal capacity and does not represent the opinion of the company as a whole. Okay, so that's the disclaimer. All right, moving on to the objective of this lecture today. We like to promote students' awareness on health, safety, and environment, or HSE, hazards in the oil and gas industry, and their related risk assessments. Okay, there are two parts of my presentation. The first part would be introduction to oil and gas industry in Malaysia. So this is going to be mainly focused on the workings inside Petronas. And the second part will be the HSE risk assessments. Dr. Fajri, may I know how long do I have?
You have about maybe 60 minutes more.
60 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
so about an hour from now.
1 hour, yeah.
Okay. All right. I think it will not be that long, but
Yeah, okay.
let's
It's
just
like
see how the
dissertation.
goes. Yeah. All right. Okay, thank you. Technical check, is my voice clear? Can you hear my
Yes,
voice clearly?
very clear.
All
Very
right.
clear.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the first part, introduction to oil and gas industry in Malaysia. So this is from my perspective of a Petronas employees. I'm not a disclaimer again. I'm not trying to promote Petronas, but this is that is my experience. So I'm basing this lecture based on my experience. So as you can see on the left side of the display, this is the Petronas Twin Towers. Petronas Twin Towers. It's located in Kuala Lumpur, and it has about say 88 floor. The height is about 465, something like that. 456 or something like that. And in the middle here, there's a bridge. It's a double deck bridge. The bottom of this bridge is for visitors. So if you come to Malaysia, please come and visit the Petronas Twin Towers. The lower deck of the bridge is for visitors. The upper side of the bridge is for the occupants, the employees to cross. If we have sometimes we have meetings in Tower 2 and I'm in Tower 1, then I will go up and cross here and go wherever the meeting is. So currently I am in Tower 1. It's on the right side. Tower 2 is on the left side. And I'm in level 13, somewhere in here. Okay. So if you come, then you will be able to see the bridge as well as, I think, the top part, the floor 86, I think, the highest that for the visitors can go. Okay, so that's all about the Twin Towers. Moving on to our journey. All right. Okay. So let me just. Okay. So this is how Petronas started its journey. We started. Petronas was incorporated in 17th August 1974. As you can see, compared to the building just now, the Petronas Twin Towers, it's much more smaller. This is where humble beginnings of Petronas in 1974. There's only about 20 something employees, and now there's about globally we have about 40,000 plus resources, manpowers globally. And in 1976, okay, so prior to Petronas being incorporated in 1974, we already have oil and gas companies in Malaysia. Namely, mostly are Shell, the big companies, Shell, Exxon, ExxonMobil. Mainly dominated by Shell and Exxon at that time, and so we learned from Shell and Exxon, and then we put in measures to make sure that the resources of Malaysia is being used properly and being disseminated, diagihkan properly to the not only for the companies for them, but also for to build the nation of Malaysia. Okay. And in 1976, we introduced and signed the first PSC to replace concession system. So previously it was in concession system, and in 1976 we got the production sharing contract with outside oil and gas companies to make sure that we can govern the resources, the hydrocarbon resources, Malaysia's oil and gas, and give back to the country. Okay. And 78, we have incorporated Petronas Carigali. So this is the upstream arm of Petronas, domestic, and also a commencement of Malaysia LNG project in Bintulu, Sarawak. Okay, so later on, now maybe you have no idea about oil and gas, what is upstream and what is downstream. I will have a brief glance through a bit later. Okay. From 1974, we have expanded. 1980, we have expanded to other than oil and gas. So this one in 1978, it's only oil. So Charikali is oil, and LNG is gas. But in moving on, 1980s, we built capacity and capability, expanding into other oil and gas value chain. So we expanded into petrochemicals, adding more values to the to each drop of oil that we produced. Yeah. So we expanded into petrochemicals with ABF. It's a fertilizer plant. And then there's more discoveries of oil and gas, what do you call it, wells, upstream. So upstream is the cari and gali. So in I think in our region mostly, Indonesia as well as Malaysia, Brunei, we cari and gali is located in offshore areas, right? Not onshore. But other countries there are some cari and gali in onshore areas. So moving on, we had 1983 we had the first refinery in Kerteh in Terengganu. So Terengganu is east of Peninsula Malaysia. So I was born and raised in Terengganu. So yeah, so that's why I'm very fascinated with Petronas, and always wanted to work with Petronas since I was small. Okay, moving on, in 2012 is the first RGT in Malaysia. RGT is regasification terminal. So when we get gas from upstream from here, then we have to pressurize it into liquid, and then bring it up to this RGT and regasification of the liquid gas into something that in gas that we can use for combustion. So this is in Malacca. 2016, 2020, we have ventured into PFLNG. PFLNG is Petronas floating LNG. So it's basically a plant, a gas plant on top of a vessel, on top of a ship. So we have 2016 PFLNG 1 and 2020 PFLNG 2. Another ammonia plant big project in Sabah, 2017. And this one is our newest big project in Johor, south of Peninsula Malaysia, the Pengerang Integrated Complex. It's Petronas' still largest downstream investment, and we are, I think currently we are in startup phase in Pengerang. Okay. So that is about Petronas businesses, building capacity and capability. Um, and then in 1991, we ventured into global. So we don't want to just stuck in Malaysia. We ventured into being a global player. 1991, we started first international venture into Vietnam. 1996, acquisition of engine in South Africa. 1998, we ventured into Sudan, South Sudan. We also, other than oil and gas, petrochemicals, we also establish Petronas Lubricants International. Some of the locations are in Italy, Milan, PLI, China. We have some plants there. I can't remember everywhere, but quite some international plants and lubricants. Then we acquisition of Progress Energy Canada. So this is one of the locations where the oil and gas comes from on land instead of offshore, onshore instead of offshore. Iraq 2013, we got the first oil 2013. This is also an onshore operations. Gladstone Australia offshore. And now we are with the sustainability agenda, we are also looking into renewable energy. We started off with 2019 with M+. It's a solar panel company based in India. And now I don't have it here, but we are having our own renewable energy company, the renewable energy arm of Petronas called Gentari. So it looks into renewable energy, electrification, like having, electric cars. So parts of electric cars, having that network surrounding, all across Malaysia. And also we are looking into the technology of hydrogen fuel. Okay, so that's a bit on Petronas as a whole. Okay. Next is, how does Petronas, as an oil and gas company of Malaysia, as a national oil and gas company of Malaysia, sits within the Malaysian organization. So we have this, we work closely with the ministry to develop the national petroleum sector. So we have here the YB our Prime Minister, and under him we have several ministries, including the Ministry of Environment and Water, Energy and Natural Resources, also Finance and other ministries. But specifically for petroleum, we in 1974 we have come out with this Petroleum Development Act 1974. So specifically for this act, so Petronas basically works is being governed under this act, not being governed, but also Petronas is given the entire ownership and exclusive rights in exploring, exploiting, winning, and obtaining hydrocarbon resources in Malaysia. So we are the custodian of the upstream activities, the cari and gali of hydrocarbon resources, and also we manage the an arm of Petronas called Malaysian Petroleum Management, MPM, does the management of production sharing contracts with other operators. For example, Shell, for example, Petron, or for example, ExxonMobil. Okay. So this act right here, it has to, it covers a whole lot of how you operate petroleum oil and gas operations in Malaysia. It covers petroleum investment, planning and budgeting, finance. It also covers the technical areas, for example, the exploration, field development, project governance, where you can drill, what well operations you can go on, what is the production operation, as well as the abandonment of wells. Okay. Right, sorry. Okay. Okay. Next is okay, so this is the Petronas integrated business, the businesses in Petronas. The target is to add value to each single molecule through integration across the value chain, or across the supply chain. So so we have three businesses in Petronas. One is upstream, one is downstream, and the third one is gas. So exploration, we start with this exploration, development, and production. This is, cari and gali. So this is the upstream business. So from here, we cari and gali the oil and gas and bring it to onshore. So this is offshore, right? So we get the crude oil. So from the crude oil, we refine the crude oil and get petroleum products for to use in our retail, which is our petrol stations, use in our commercial jet fuel, This is basically kerosene. Kerosene too is actually the jet fuel for aviation industry. And then we also look into the transport sector, the lubricants just now. So this is where we support this transport sector. Okay, so the next one is natural gas, right? So we have oil and gas. Natural gas from the upstream business is brought to onshore and goes through liquefaction. And from liquefaction, we get liquefied natural gas or LNG. LNG we export. Most of it we export. The biggest customer is Japan. So this is for the ICE internal combustion engine, the turbines, for power generation. Okay, right. And then we also process our gas. We get processed gas, the PGU system. This is like the gas networks in Malaysia. And we get liquefied petroleum gas. So LPG. LPG is our cooking gas. So gas masak. So the gas masak that we use is coming from here lah, this LPG. And then we also the oil and gas products from refinery, products from gas processing. We further increase its value through petrochemical plant. So this is where we produce methanol, we produce plastics like polyhydrocarbon, for example, PC, ethylene, polyethylene, methyl butadiene, methanol. So this is all the petrochemical plants. Okay, and this the fertilizers are also in this downstream sector. It supports the industrial and agriculture sector. Gas, it supports the residential and commercial sectors, the gas masak tadi tu. And PGU and LNG supports the export as well as the power and industrial sectors. So it's a bit overwhelming, I understand, but this is the whole value chain of the Petronas integrated business. So again, we have the upstream, we have the downstream, which are on land and processing all the all the inputs, outputs from upstream, and we have the gas sector over here. Okay, so other than just the producing oil and gas and petrochemicals and so on, we also have other ventures in Petronas. So this includes KLCCUH, which is the management of the twin towers tadi tu, the Petronas twin towers. MISC, which is the shipping company that supports our export, our transportation vessels, and so on. Engineering solution, ICT, Petroscience. If you come to Petronas Twin Towers, there is a location that you can go to. It's like a museum of Petronas. Basically, it tells you how is oil and gas being extracted in a more interactive way. So children can come and enjoy there. There's a lot of hands-on thing that activities that they can try there. Very interesting. There's also one of our ventures is UTP. So this is actually Petronas University Technology Petroleum. So it's in so it's Petronas own university. Okay. All right. Okay. So next is on domestic oil and gas assets. Okay, so this is on Malaysian assets. So you can see that we have many producing fields. So this is all upstream. We have many offshore assets. We have also floaters. Floaters is macam tadi apa PFLNG, um, where the gas processing plant is on top of a ship, on top of a vessel. Okay, and what else? We have refineries. I think we have three refineries overall in domestic. One in Malacca, where I did my PhD, and in Terengganu as well as in Johor. So if you see, this is a hub. We have a refinery here. We have a refinery here, and we have a refinery now. Is the newest refinery is in Pengerang, Johor. Okay, and then we have aviation terminals because we are supplying to to the aviation industry, kapal terbang. And then what else? Service stations. This is all the gas stations, your gasoline, your petrol. Now we have about now it says 1065, but I think the latest statistics was almost 1500. So this is not an updated data. So this is in Malaysia. For the first business, this the upstream business, international upstream business, we have um, 26 offshore assets covering a lot of the regions. We also have in let's see, in Southeast Asia. We have in Vietnam production, Brunei. I think it's a new project going on to produce. Myanmar, Thailand, Indonesia. Indonesia, we have onshore. It's an upstream business, but they also have onshore terminals in, I think, in Gresik, also in Australia. So this is our upstream ventures, the Chari and the Gali. Right. Next is downstream business. So downstream business basically upstream Chari and Gali get the oil and gas and then bring it on land for processing. So downstream process the raw crude oil. So plays a strategic role in enhancing the value of our petroleum resources. So it's not only crude oil; it's being processed into lubricants, into other petrochemical. Okay, so we have refineries in Malaysia as well as South Africa, but now we are letting go of the South Africa businesses. We have trading office. We have marketing and retail, petrochemical plants present in about 30 countries. Yeah, and we have R&D lab in Malaysia and as well as Netherlands for petrochemical. Lubricants, top 10 global lubricants players, blending facilities across the world lah. Okay, so this is the downstream business. And the next one is gas business, providing reliable and innovative low carbon energy solution. So if you see in terms of carbon emission, now we are very much into sustainability, right? In terms of carbon emission, so we have coal, we have comparing to oil, comparing to gas. So gas is much more low carbon, much more cleaner resource. So it's a low carbon, cleaner energy solutions for the world. Okay, so these are the locations where the gas businesses is operating. So this is LNG, gas and power. Yeah, they don't have the FLNG vessel here, but FLNG is also under gas business. Okay. So basically the purpose and values of Petronas, being the Malaysian national oil and gas company, is to uphold our amanah and setting our course for the future. So it's not only for Petronas, it's not on, but it's also for the government. Contributing to the growth of the nation, the growth of the people, as well as for a better future a better future moving forward. So this is our statement of purpose: a progressive energy and solutions partner, enriching lives for a sustainable future. So I would like I like to think of it as three P's. So three P's, which are P is profit, people, and planet. Yeah, I can't remember. Profit, people, and planet. So a progressive energy and solutions partner. So this is basic making money. So this is profit part. Enriching lives. Enriching lives is our lives as people. So this is the second P, people, for a sustainable future. So for for the planet. So I like to think it as we the statement of purpose jive with the three P's. This is our shared values: CLIP, cohesiveness, loyalty, integrity, and professionalism. And this is our cultural belief. We have 5 cultural belief, which is customer focus. So basically saying that when we deliver something, we deliver solutions from the customer lens. For example, today, I am the customer of Dr. Fajri and Dr. Ani because they invited me. But the students are my customer because I'm giving lectures to you. So when I give lectures, I would like to see to imagine that I actually reach to our customer, and which are the students, and the students can understand, and the lectures that I give today is beneficial to them. So this is what customer focus means. Innovate now, be enterprising, courage to act. What I like to highlight another one is speak up. It says that I express my views openly. So in Petronas previously, it might be difficult for you to talk to the upper level, the management, because of the hierarchy. But now that we have this cultural belief, this is, I think, quite new juga. I can't remember because I was in Japan when they come up with this new cultural belief. But I feel like right now it's much open. The culture is much open. If you have any issues, if you have any opinion, even we take into account everybody's opinion, everybody's question. If they have questions, no questions is stupid questions. For us, that is how we think it, so that it encourages people to speak up if they have problem, to brainstorm. So we want to tap into individual, how to say, capability. So in my section, for example, even the interns can critique can critique me if, for example, I explain and they don't understand. They can always ask, and they can always speak up if they have any opinion, better opinion than me. So we welcome those kind of interactions. Okay, so this is our purpose and values. Next is on sustainability. So currently, as we move forward towards we NZCE, sustainability commitments. We aim to deliver energy solutions that fuel progress in a responsible manner. Not only, thinking about, we cari and gali getting all these resources for ourselves, but also for the future. So it ties back to the statement of purpose lah, a progressive energy and solutions partner, enriching lives for a sustainable future. Okay. So we have aligned our sustainability agenda through these 4 lenses: continued value creation, having positive social impact. So wherever we operate, we have to make sure that we give positive social impact to the people surrounding our operations. Safeguard the environment, making sure that we are not contaminating the air, the water, the ground. Making sure that we operate. We need to operate. We need to make money, but the money maybe we can spend more into, reviving the environment as well. Protect the environment as well as responsible governance. Um, this is making sure that everything, the procedures, we have system in place to make sure that we are acting as a responsible corporate citizen. So pretty sure that you guys are also exposed to the UN SDGs, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There's about 17 of UN SDGs sustainable goals. For Petronas, we align our businesses, and we focus on these 7 prioritized SDGs, which is, let me I can't remember everything. Okay, so SDG 3, good health and well-being, quality education, affordable and clean energy. So this is our core business. So we have to make sure that our core business is not, impacting the environment as well. Decent work and economic growth, giving back to the country, giving back to the community. Industry innovation and infrastructure. So, when you have a plant, the chemical plant may come first, and then the infrastructure will come later. Like we see the new complex in Pengerang in Johor. The plant will come first, and then we build roads, we'll build schools, we build networks, so that people can have that infrastructure surrounding the industry. Responsible consumption and production, very much to our core businesses, as well as number 13, climate action. So now we have a lot of issues with regards to climate change, greenhouse gas emissions. So we align our whole strategy and initiatives for every year to these 7 SDGs. Of course, we also tap into other SDGs, for example, life on land, life underwater. But these 7 are the prioritized ones. Okay, so Dr. Fajri, I have
Yes.
the video here, but I cannot play.
Okay.
Would you be able to play it from your side? So this is, I'm not
Okay. Okay.
trying to promote Petronas, but this is
Okay.
how we venture into the sustainability moving forward. Okay, all
Could
yours.
you share the link?
I've shared just now
Yeah, please.
at the chat.
Yes. Or yeah, let's chat. It's okay.
Let
Baik,
me see if
sambil
I
menunggu. Ya.
yeah, if you have
Oh ya, already.
sorry, oh, you're playing it.
Where is the link? Chat in Zoom or?
Chat in Zoom, yes. Maybe I'll
Not
try
yet.
to run here. If
Okay.
it's okay, then I'll run here. But if it's not okay, then you have to run it for me.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear the video just now?
No.
Can you hear?
No.
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 You can hear. Okay, then Fajri, you need to help me on this.
Okay. But I have not received the link yet.
Or perhaps you can share
Oh,
the
You send
sound
to,
from your.
because I have two accounts. Maybe the other one.
See, hold on. Let me just share my screen from my I think I have it open. Yep. Hold on. Okay, so this is YouTube.
Oh,
Can you
Our
hear?
story
Yeah,
began
yeah.
with a dream.
So you can
Perfect.
hear?
Yeah,
Okay,
we
great,
can.
Totally
great.
clear.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, right. So I'll play it from here then.
Our story began with a dream to see if we could take on an industry. It wasn't easy, but slowly, good began to happen. We put our name on the map. Conquered industries, even ventured into new ones. But could we have done more? As the world produced more energy, it became nature's problem. And we were part of it. An answer was needed to put the world on a more sustainable path. So we gathered our strength and together started connecting the dots. Our purpose became clear: to become a progressive energy and solutions partner, enriching lives for a sustainable future. To reduce emissions, grow renewable energy, bring education to more, champion social impact, and promote a circular economy. To achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050, we searched for solutions beyond today and found the immense potential in the energy of tomorrow, where oil and gas can find new life, where plastic bottles can move cars, where carbon dioxide can breathe life into machines, where animals and people can live side by side, and where education is an opportunity every child could have. Let's connect the dots together and create a more sustainable future for all, so that our next generation will always have something to look forward to. Petronas, passionate about progress.
Okay, so yeah, so that's a bit about Petronas. Hold on. So we do try to, not only work for ourselves but also work for the future, for the country, for sejagat lah. So that's what we're trying to show in that just now. Okay. All right. So that concludes my first part of the lecture. Not so much of a lecture, right? But how is the a Q&A session? Do we have it now after each part, or is it
It's
better later on?
it's up to you. If the participant want to have question, and also you allow, we will open the quick Q&A session maybe.
Now is I think I better if I go through the
Okay.
the presentation
Okay. Yeah.
first. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So that
Please.
part is quite exciting. So now we go to the a bit more serious and maybe boring part, maybe a bit dry part on risk assessments. Hold on, I'm having trouble. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
The connecting the dots, is it?
Yeah, connecting the dots.
Okay, that is not working. No. Hold on, I'll go here then. Now HSC risk assessment, is it?
Yes,
Can you see as a whole or presenter screen?
as a whole. Perfect.
As a whole. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. Thanks for the for the feedback. Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Next part is on second part. Wait. Give me 2 seconds. I need to drink something.
Yes, of course, please, Dr. Mayhati.
Okay. Okay. So bear with me on this next session. It's a bit dry, but I hope everybody everybody can benefit from it. So next part is on HSC risk assessment. Okay, so the risk in the industries. We're talking about specifically the industry of oil and gas. So there are many types of risk. So there's on the left side is I'm just listing out all these potential risks that we might be seeing in our industry in not only in oil and gas, but I think this is like across the globe, across any other industries as well, or even universities. Okay. So there's I think it's better if we review this the risk from the pandemic point of view, from COVID-19 point of view. So that's financial risk. So we are a business entity first of all, and we need to generate money to be able to operate, as well as talking about enriching lives for the future, enriching the nation, enriching the lives of people surrounding our operations as well. So so we see that COVID-19 was has a lot of impact on the financial risk. Basically, because of the lockdown, there's no I mean the the petroleum at that oil and gas value at that point was because nobody was driving. So macam menurun lah in terms of revenue. And also because we cannot really produce because people cannot go to work. In Malaysia, petroleum industry is regarded as the frontliners. So if you we have like stop points where during the COVID-19, so basically you cannot travel from one place to another place, or one town to another. But if you just show your Petronas card saying, "Oh, I'm in the frontliner for the nation," then you can go to work basically. So it's like same level as nurse or doctors that we are allowed to work during the COVID-19, but of course with precautions. Okay, and HSC risk, we will talk more about this. Basically, the HSC risk is what you see on the right side lah. So these are all the the big risk when it comes to HSC, the lesson learned from previous incidents that happened throughout the oil and gas industry. So we have the what I'm not really familiar. Okay, this one, Piper Alpha fire. This is a big one. And then there's this is made into a movie. I'm not sure if you have seen it. The Macondo Deepwater Horizon. It happened in 20th April 2010. If you look, if you have Netflix, I think it's still on Netflix. Called a movie called Deepwater Horizon, played by I think the hero is Matt Damon or something. Yeah, so this is basically a major fire that happened offshore, and the whole platform basically runtuh and collapsed into the seabed. And it caused like a lot of oil spill, as well as oil spill impacting the environment, impacting the biodiversity. You can see here, I think it's a bit difficult to see, but this is a pelican being covered by the oil, so it cannot fly, away. So it cannot eat, cannot fly, and it will be left to death. Okay, so a new most recent parts is this oil spill in Niger Delta. This is impacting Shell, Royal Shell Dutch. So as I informed just now, so some of the Chari and Gali is in the sea. Sometimes it's better that way because it doesn't, it's not very close to us. In the end, it will impact us, our food chain and so on, but it will take some time. But if it's onshore, the Chari and Gali is onshore, like the one we see here in Niger Delta, as well as the issues with fractionation in Canada. So it's much more of an issue when it's nearer to the receptors, nearer to the humans. Okay.
I'm
Next.
sorry, Dr. Mahani. Is it any
Yep.
trouble with your camera? Because we
Closed
can.
it just now
Okay,
when I
okay,
was
okay,
drinking.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Thank you, thank you. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Thanks. Yep. All right. Next is on human resource risk. Taking COVID-19 lesson then again. Human resource is basically capability and manpower. So when during COVID-19 we don't have enough manpower, we cannot put everybody on board, right? It cannot be 100% occupancy. We did like 50-50, or if you are in office, then mostly it's for a year and a half it's work from home. But if you are in operation, that's very much, how is the plan going to work, going to be run without prepared in terms of human resource risk. Information and communication technology risk. So we have now we have that's like a lot of cybersecurity threat currently, with the viral this, viral that. So this is also a threat a risk to the industry. Legal and regulatory risk. So this is basically, if you do something that, for example, in this case, the oil spill in Nigeria, we have to respect the country's law and regulations where we operate. So this is, getting litigations, going through litigations and so on. So we would like to avoid those risks. Project risk. Project risk is what was project risk? Project risk is always like, if you have a new projects, there's a lot of uncertainties, right? There's a lot of unknown because it's a new product, maybe a new project. You can conducting it for the first time, so we are prone to make mistakes. So those are in project risk. And also projects involve a lot of departments, different people, involve a lot of manpower, not only not only the operators manpower, our workers, but also the contractors. So that are the things that we need to think about in project phase. Security risk, now we have, for example, war in Ukraine. So those are security risk. So ataupun we have a war in South Sudan where we operate. So we need to be able to face that risk lah. So for example, people in operators in Iraq, for example, if they go outside of their camp, basically their plants, then we have to wear apa bulletproof jacket to make sure that we are protected and have bodyguards. and procurement risk, the war in Ukraine may have caused, I think maybe you guys are also having the same issues with some delay or stoppage in some raw materials or chemicals that you order, you cannot get it because the war in Ukraine is stopping the logistics. So that is a procurement risk. What else? Plant and facility risk. So this is basically the plant and facility risk lah. So this will impact not only the asset itself, the plant itself, the money, but also impact the stakeholders' trust. So this is we are impacting the stakeholders' trust, the trust of the community with contamination, customers' trust, banks' trust. Banks give us money for us to be able to operate. We lend, we borrow money from banks. But if we do bad things, then the banks will not say that, oh, I will give you this money, right, in the future. So those are the risks. All these are going to impact the reputation risk lah as a whole. Okay, so these are the risks. I think the risk is everywhere, not only in oil and gas, not only in the industry, but also even a risk as a person. If you, for example, tell lies, then your reputation, and once people find out, then your reputation will be not so good. So those are risk in personal as well as in the industry. Okay, next is basically in the world of risk assessment, risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. If you know how to anticipate what is the risk, then you might be more how to say prepared to face the risk. So keep that in mind. I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble going to the next slide. Hold on.
Maybe you can stop your screen first and then share again.
Okay, so next is going into the hazards and effects management process. So this is how we manage the HSE risk through this HAMP. We call it HAMP, Hazard and Effect Management process. So HAMP is a structured methodology to identify HSE hazards, assess the associated risk, as well as develop the barriers that is required to reduce the risk to allowed. Allowed means as low as reasonably possible. So we can eliminate the risk, right? But we should have a tolerance of risk. We should have a track record of threshold where we know that, okay, if it goes beyond this threshold, then the risk is not acceptable and we have to do something. So that's how we work backwards lah. We have a threshold, and then we monitor whether our performance, whether we go exceed those threshold or not. So so there are a few steps in hemp. First is you have to identify the hazards, threats, top events, and consequences. I know these are maybe you have been exposed to this. Hold on, I'm out of battery. Hold on, yeah. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? Okay, identify hazards, threats, top events, and consequence. So later on, I will have a slide to actually explain a bit on these terms that is used in hemp. The next step is to assess. This is basically conducting the risk assessments and determining the risk rating. So whether the risk is acceptable or not, and if it's not acceptable, what action should we take? The third part is establishing controls. So we need to establish controls as well as control measures as well as recovery measures. Control measures is basically to avoid the risk. So for risk prevention. Recovery measures is for risk mitigation, which means the risk is already there. It happens, it's not acceptable, and we have to mitigate that risk. Okay, so prevention and mitigation. Demonstrate ALAP. ALAP is as low as reasonably possible, and establish integrity of control and recovery measures. So just now we established the control, right? We have control for risk prevention and mitigation, and we have to maintain this control. For example, carrying out periodical maintenance and review of the effectiveness of these barriers. And we have to develop the remedial action plan, basically taking actions to make sure that it's just a list that you tick off, saying that, okay, the risk is like this, but after I take this kind of action, the risk is estimated to be reduced, and to alert to as low as reasonably possible, so the operations is good to go, right? Okay, so I promised about the terms used in hemp. Hazard is actually any event or condition with the potential to cause harm to people. So the keyword here is potential to cause harm to people. People, asset, environment, or reputation, or we call it PAIR. For example, benzene. Benzene is a chemical hazard. Okay. A tiger has the potential to eat us, to cause harm to us. So a tiger is a hazard. Okay. Next is top event. Top event is the actual incident that occurs as a result of release of hazard. For example, when we talk about the tiger just now, the event is there's a tiger, which means it's hazard, and the hazard is being released. So somebody is being eaten or being hurt by the tiger. So that is an event. So that is a top event, we call it. In the case of benzene, benzene is being released, for example, to the environment, or loss of primary containment. So the benzene is supposed to be inside a tank or something, but instead it's being leaked, being released from the tank, So that is a top event. The third one is threat. Threat is possible cause that will release the hazard. So how will the benzene being released? There may be some pipe corrosion in the tank, for example, or the flange is not tight enough. So that is a threat. Okay, in the terms of the tiger just now, the threat, the possible cause that will release the hazard, release the tiger, we can say that maybe the lock is not strong enough to contain the tiger in a cage, for example, right? So that is a threat. Number four is consequence. Consequence is basically the impact, the event or chain of events that follows top event because of the hazard getting released. So it can affect people, asset, environment, as well as reputation. For example, in the case of benzene just now, consequence of top event, consequence of loss of primary containment, you can have leakage to the groundwater, or contamination to the air that will lead to health impact to workers who are breathing the air, contaminated air, or the community which are drinking the groundwater that is contaminated with benzene, for example. So those are the consequences. Okay. In the case of the tiger just now would be people dying, people getting hurt. So that's a consequence. Likelihood is the possibility of the event happening. Severity is the worst case. During when we do risk assessment, we also always assume the worst case scenario, assuming there's no barrier or the barriers have failed, and there is no mitigation. So later on, I'll just run through an example. Now it's quite difficult to see, but later the slide after this we can see this how it's being plotted into a table. Okay. A barrier is a measure to prevent the occurrence of top event. So basically, in the case of tiger just now, the barrier is the um, basically the cage with a proper lock. Okay. Um, so because it avoids the hazard being released. All right. Okay. Next is hazard and effects. So this is an example of how these are being plotted into a table where we can make sense of of each of the risk assessments. So for example, we have a hazard of hydrocarbon vapor. We have a location, for example, this is a refinery, crude distillation unit, CDU, for example. The threat is there's some flange leak or over pressurization of the inside the tank, trapped hydrocarbon. So these are the threat that may lead to top event. The actual top event is loss of primary containment, meaning the hydrocarbon is being released from the tank. The hazard is being released, and these are the consequences. We start with lower vapor release, but it's unignited. We can have second scenario is minor fire from the release of hydrocarbon. We can also have major fire. So when we see look at this risk assessment matrix, which has the consequences on the right, on the top part, for pair, people, environment, asset, and reputation. On the left side is likelihood going down. This is basically saying that how much frequency has this been happening before. Have we done enough to avoid this thing happening in the future? So from here we can plot what is the risk rating. Okay. So from here I just arbitrarily just put my from here just now. So E1, E1, E1. So E1 would be medium risk. D2 would be medium risk. High risk would be D3. So from minor fire and major fire. For people, for A is asset, but maybe it will cause like major fire. People are not the our customers are not trusting the company as much, then you may have catastrophic impact to your reputation. It can lead high to very high consequences, for example. So this is how we do the risk rating for each of the hazards. Okay. So this hazard and effect register is an example of how risk assessments is being conducted. Usually this is we do it in job hazard analysis when we want to do something. For example, I want to do some sampling outside of the at the fence line. So I need to think about what are the possible hazards around me. Okay. Okay. So this is example of her, which is hazard and effect register, which is basically how we do risk assessments. One type of risk assessments, but we also have many risk assessments that we applied ataupun that is available. Maybe we are not using it right now, but is available across HSC discipline. So I believe we are in environment engineering and as well as civil engineering, right? So you might be interested in some of the environmental risk assessments that is available here. Okay, so the risk assessment tools are used to identify hazard associated with the jobs, assess the hazard and adequacy of control measures just now, as well as introduce the safeguards, the barriers in order to reduce the risk. So these are the many different disciplines in HSC: environment, health, process safety, occupational safety, and these are some of the example of tools and techniques that is available in each of the discipline. For example, environmental aspect and impact. I think this one is quite a lot of countries have made this into input this into their laws and regulation. We have to have EIA when we have new projects. For example, I'm pretty sure some of you might have some exposure to looking at EIA reports or studying this basically as part of your course. In Malaysia, it is being governed by Department of Environment. Yes. Hazard, environmental hazard identification, environmental. Sorry. So this is environmental aspect and impact. Sorry, the one in regulation is EIA, environmental impact assessment. When you have new projects, right? Environmental aspect and impact is actually part of the ISO 14001 environmental management system. Okay. Health. In under the health discipline, there's health risk assessment or HRA. Chemical health risk assessment in Malaysia. This is actually being yes, this is regulated. So if you have use of chemicals that can harm your health, so the your workers' health, for example, then you have to declare it and you have to assess their hazards and put in some mitigation, some barriers in order to make sure that your workers are not being exposed to these chemicals during work. CHRA. So we have to do it every 5 years. Noise risk assessment, I think we have a guideline. I'm not sure if it's a regulatory right now, but I'm pretty sure we have a guideline. Process safety, hazard identification, hazard and operability, HAZOP. So these are some of the process safety tools. Process safety is a bit different from occupational safety. Process safety is basically the the whole intent of process safety is keeping what is intended to be in a pipeline inside the pipeline. So making sure that there's no release of chemicals or hydrocarbons or whatever from the to the unintended environment. So if it's supposed to be in the pipeline, if it's supposed to be in a tank, then making sure that it's in a pipeline, it's in a tank and not coming out. So that is the purpose, the how to say, the ideology of process safety. Occupational safety, we have gone just now. Her just now is a part of job hazard analysis and also bow tie. I think I don't want to go too much into bow tie. It will take some time. Okay, so we also have like other emerging areas of risk assessment, which is maybe not governed by regulatory, not in the traditional HSE, but we can see that there's a lot more drive to get this risk assessment being conducted. For example, under human rights, for example, we have a social risk assessment, SRA, human rights due diligence, social impact assessment. So this is basically talking about if you have a operation, for example, in one place, how are your operation impacting the people surrounding your living surrounding your operations, whether you are taking into account their grievances. For example, kalau orang, if for example people complain, how do you take action towards those complaints, or are you going to just ignore it? So those are the social part of risk assessments. Life cycle assessment, LCA, this is talking about how your products can have a carbon footprint. Comparing one product to another. For example, you have product A and you have product B. Product A is carbon footprint is higher than product B. So your customer would be wanting to say, because they want to say in their product that we are protecting the environment, we are green product, for example. But without this life cycle assessment, you won't be able to say those. So you need an evidence, so in order to say those. So those evidence comes from life cycle assessment. Produce water risk-based assessment, this is under ecotoxicology, life underwater, impact to fish, impact to crustaceans, and so on. Human health risk assessment, impact of, for example, release of chemicals from your operations towards the community, in terms of their health. So people say that there's a person or a community living out just outside your fence line, plant boundary. So they will be exposed to the chemicals in the environment day in and day out. Say that this happens across their lifetime. So what is the risk that they are taking by living nearby your operations? So this is human health risk assessment. Product risk assessment is basically saying that I'm pretty sure you have seen some safety data sheet, SDS, MSDS. Like if you buy a chemical or you buy mm, say you buy cosmetic or something like that, right? Buy a product, some kind of chemical, and those sometimes you see in the how to say, sometimes you see in the box of the chemical or in the carton of the chemical, the logo of saying that, okay, this chemical is carcinogenic, can cause cancer or irritation, and so on. So those are product risk assessments. Okay. climate change, resilience, and adaptation. We are, talking about sustainability, climate change again. Now we see a lot of our facilities being impacted by the climate change. For example, a lot of the plants are built near to the coastline, right? Because it's easier for to discharge and so on. The ocean will like membersihkan cleanse a lot of the output from the plants, for example. um, but we due to the climate change, there's the sea level rise, right? So when your plant is very near to the ocean, when sea level rise, then it will impact maybe flooding, for example, or maybe soil erosion, but your plant is on top of very near to the coastline. So your facilities, your asset will be impacted as well. So these are the climate change, resilience, and adaptation risk assessments. Yeah, I think 11:47. I think, yeah, I finished it. There's a lot more to go, but I think
Wow.
I've given a lot of explanations based on this assessment just now. Yeah, so I think that's all. Thank you for listening. I hope somehow it will be beneficial to the students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maihani. Uh, I provide 2 hours, but in reality, it's not enough. I think maybe we can invite you in the next maybe chance, maybe because 2 hours is not enough. Maybe you can directly go to Indonesia also if you have
Oh, please,
time.
uh, invite me to.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. But we only have maybe about 12 minutes more,
Mm-hmm.
12 more minutes to have the Q&A session. So
Mm-hmm.
please, participants, give a question, maybe if any, for the interesting presentation from Dr. Mehani. Please raise your hand or you can write. Oke, silakan Wahda.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, Dr. Mahaini. Mm, it's really happy to have you this morning. I'm really interested with this topic, so I just want to, I'm sorry, I just want to ask something that make me curious about things that you ever do in this Petras. And I have 2 questions. First one is the biggest challenge to do as an act for the SDG. And the second one is
Hold on. The biggest
any
challenge
biggest
is of what? Can you speak up?
to do okay, I'm sorry. The biggest challenge for the SDGs for the Petronas. Which one?
Oh, okay. So do you mean which
And the
SDG?
second was which one? Yes, which.
Okay.
And the second one is I want to know is there is biggest accident in the Petronas and how to deal with it as a HSA.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Yeah, please,
All right.
maybe Dr. Mehani can answer directly.
Yeah. Okay. So biggest challenge for SDG. So as you know, we have 17 SDG as a whole, and we are I informed just now we have 7 prioritized SDGs. So each of them has different different challenges. um, I think from my point of view, it's you have to how to say, you have to balance between SDG, following up with the SDG, as well as you know, because we are in the business, right? So the profit part, we want to make sure that we have profit, because without profit we cannot operate, and if we cannot operate, we will also impact the lives of people surrounding our operations. If we, for example, if we have to stop operation or close the plant or something like that. But yeah, I think it's the understanding of it's okay to move uh, bit by bit, but we are still progressing. So and getting people to understand the importance of we have this 17 SDGs for a reason, right? Because we want to achieve a sustainable future. What does sustainable future means? Means we still can do business, but we're not like polluting the environment. We are not destroying the environment. We are not destroying the future of our kids. So it takes a lot of understanding. It's not only it's not only operationalizing the SDGs, but understanding of each of the SDGs, the KPIs, what is how to say, the specifics, the specific answers of KPIs of the SDG is what I think is most important. Yeah. Okay. Did I answer that? Are you okay with the answer?
Yes,
All right. Yep.
Doctor.
Okay.
It's
The
really good.
second one is the biggest accident in Petronas. We have we are oil and gas company. We do have just now we have gone the risk of the oil and gas industry, which 100% applies to Petronas, the financial risk, and until the plant and facilities risk. I I'm not sure. I think I'm not in the our most how to say biggest one. I guess it relates to safety issues, because safety is immediate, right? You can see the impact is immediate. When something happens, when there's an explosion, you can hear, you can see there's smoke, you can see the fire, you are afraid of your uh, safety basically, right? So it's always safety first. That's why we have that safety first, right? But you see also those so that is the most impacted lah. um that will damage your reputation as well. Your relationships with your community surrounding, for example, relationships with the banks that give you money to operate, lend you money to operate. So you need to have that ability to stand up against the incident, right? So if you have an incident, for example, you have major fire, and so your plan basically cannot work, so you have to recuperate recuperation on that immediately. Have to have emergency response, have to have people who can speak to the communities, emergency communications. uh, I think the biggest one is the one that you can see. I'm in environmental health, but environmental health, the impact is very gradual, right? It's not like people uh, fatality, or people pingsan or something like that. It's gradual. So I think the most that will impact is the safety side. safety, process safety. I am
Is
not
it
at
enough,
liberty.
Wahda? Sudah terjawab?
Yeah, and I have
Specific
one more question.
incident, I will avoid from saying anything.
Okay. Can I ask something more? Just one question.
Saya kasih ke yang lain dulu ya. Saya kasih
Oh,
kesempatan
okay,
yang
Pak.
lain dulu. Kalau
Okay.
ada
Okay, Doctor.
lagi, kalau ada waktu lagi baru ini. Silakan untuk yang lain, others participant who want to give a question, because we have very limited time. Please raise your hand or write the question in the chat column. Oke.
Alright.
Kalau tidak ada, silahkan Wahda pertanyaan selanjutnya. Tapi yang lain
Okay,
sambil siapkan pertanyaan ya.
Okay. I'm sorry before. Dr. Mahani ever said in this topic, but the society, I'm sorry, the social security or something is really hard to hand on. So when it happened, the accident, what the public response is absolutely unpredictable, and how to deal with it.
How to deal with public
response
of
the
incidents which
accident or
happens.
something.
Accidents. Okay. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, and I am not the subject matter expert on that, but I have been involved in. I've seen enough to see. I think the most important thing is what we're talking today is risk assessment. So, if an accident happens, we and then if we are more prepared, then it will be, you know what to anticipate, you know how to talk to people. For example, when how to talk to people, uh, how to talk to the community, how to talk to your workers. Maybe some of them has lost their friends, for example. How to talk to the family of the people who lost their lives. So it's not easy to manage an incident like that, especially if it's like a major fire or explosion or something like that, that people can totally see, totally hear. People can relieve that trauma every day, right? um, but what we can do is, anticipate, which is identify the hazards, identify the ways of identify the risk, identify the ways, the barriers that will reduce the impact of the risk to the people, to yourself, to our workers. Those are the important thing. And also, during emergency, there will be people who are tasked to deal with emergency. They are called emergency response people. No, emergency response team. We have to have emergency response plan, so that when emergency comes, people on the ground know what they have to do. People on the top management, once they have that information, there's a explosion somewhere, then they know what to, who to contact. What level is this incident? Do they need to call the police? Do they need to call the bomber, or do you need to call, the politicians or something like that? Those are carefully constructed, curated in emergency response plan. But having an emergency response plan and executing the emergency response plans is totally two different things. So you need to have practice by doing drills. So when you do drills, then you can be more prepared. Plus, you have to have a lot of doa. I think working in, yeah, it is true. Um,
Yes.
sometimes we before we work, we start off with HSC briefing or something like that, right? My So for the Muslim, we apa baca doa, right? We recite the prayers. Even our Chinese leaders, for example, they don't they are not Muslim, but they totally say, oh, uh, today you haven't done your prayers. You need to pray because we need to be safe. So our prayers is for the whole the whole community, the whole company, right? So they also say, okay, yeah, I will pray for you as well, then please pray too, so that we can be safe. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, thank
Thank you
you,
so
Dr.
much, Dr.
Mayhani and
Mahani.
Wahda, for the question. Unfortunately, our time's up, but we have one more question, Dr. Mayhani. Is it okay to extend like about 5 minutes?
Sure.
Okay, one more question,
I see.
maybe. Yeah, from
Okay.
the chat box. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, Dr. Mayhani. He use Indonesia, bahasa Indonesia. Kalau kami
I
tertarik,
understand.
kalau kami tertarik bekerja di Petronas sebagai fresh graduate, what the minimum qualification yang harus kami punya? Terima kasih.
Minimum qualification.
Maybe
Mm,
especially for environmental engineer.
mm. Minimum qualification, I think. I guess it's your CGPA.
Okay.
It has your course have to have like a related things that we are looking for. Because each position in Petronas is quite specific. So like for example, we take this environmental engineer, but this person is looking at air. So we do look at macam what are the specific skill for that particular position. Yeah. And that is not even so that is fresh graduate. So the level will be, I mean, we're taking you as staff, so the level will be much higher. Even for right now, I'm looking for interns and apprentices, and because we have a lot of applications, so we do conduct interviews even for the interns, just to see how well we can anticipate the person be able to work with our group. So that is the risk assessment on my side lah. So I conduct interviews to see, okay, so this guy can do this stuff, we need them for this, then we'll take. So I need to know what are my hazards, right? Yeah, hazards and risks in terms of even employment. So yep.
But
So in
how
terms
about
of
the
qualification minimum,
English
so
proficiency?
English, yeah, definitely. I uh, I am educated in Japan, which doesn't use English much.
Yeah.
So and I was in I mean my I was in the really remote village. So I don't use English. But when you in Petronas, because almost like most of the communications, all the meetings are in English. So you need to be able to not take too long time to think about your sentence, to be able
Yeah, yeah.
to respond to your superiors or your leadership team. E- Especially if you are holding like the subject matter expert. I'm supposed to be an
Yeah.
expert, right? So I have to be able to influence people, or I have to be able to convince people, or I have to be able to make people feel at ease that I am doing a good job. right? So in order to communicate that, you really need to have a good flow of English. I guess we're growing global now. It cannot be, it's an inevitable. It cannot be tak boleh dielakkan. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Maihani. Can we give applause for Dr. Maihani for
Thank
our
you.
lecture today?
Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Maihani. So I will close maybe the session, this lecture question session, Q&A session, and then also the guest lecture session. Maybe in the next time we can meet again with Dr. Maihani. Very interesting presentation, and then 2 hours is not enough for us. Maybe we can have chance in the next time. Thank you so much for the attention, for the participant. Thank you for your on camera during the presentation. Maybe Dr. Maihani, I have small discussion maybe after this, maybe small in the small time maybe. Can we
After
just
this?
discuss yeah, a
Yeah, sure.
moment? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. In
Okay.
this chat, or it's a different
Yeah,
link?
in this chat in Zoom.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank
Sure,
you so
sure.
much for participant
Thank
and
you.
Dr.
Thank you.
Maihani. Yeah. You can leave the Zoom now. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wah.
Ternyata tidak cukup waktunya, Maihani-san.
Man, I talk too much.
Itu, tapi tak apa, menarik sekali as our knowledge, because ya terkadang kita masih apa ya, locally thinking ya, masih pemikirannya masih lokal gitu. Jadi kita ingin banyak bersentuhan dengan level global gitu.
But because I'm not sure in whether the presentation just now, because I just do what I have on mind, but does it jive with the syllabus or the things
Yeah, of
that being
course.
taught? I saw your apa ni course Bachelor of Civil Engineering punya list of
Yeah.
Subjects.
Yeah.
But I don't see HSC.
Iya, ya. Mungkin yang civil portionnya tidak terlalu banyak di sini. Jadi mungkin 90%, 10% maybe yang dari jadi tidak mengapa tadi. Tapi mereka itu lebih di construction memang. Tapi teori risknya masih comply gitu, masih oke lah, masih bisa diaplikasikan gitu di dunia construction gitu, civil engineer. Masih punya korelasi lah, masih punya hubungan. Ini yang lain silahkan ini dulu apa?
Is it better to get a new link or talk on WhatsApp instead if you want to have a
I think it's okay
more
here.
controlled environment?
Yeah, I can remove the participant.
Forcefully.
Iya. Ibu Ani masih di sini, Bu Ani? Halo, halo. Kita punya 3 paralel lecturer hari ini, Maihani-san. Jadi Bu Ani sangat busy, 3 lecture, terus ada 1 career development training untuk yang segera yang mau graduate. Terus juga ada 1 master. Kita sudah buka master program untuk environmental engineering, jadi ada 1 juga offline lecturer di master.
I see.
So busy weekend today.
Okay.
Okay, give me a moment to.
Why are you guys working on weekends? No work-life balance.
No time. Yeah, it's not healthy. Apa untuk mental is not health.
Yeah. Are you talking to me because I can't hear you?
Ya, suaranya Bu Ani ini mungkin soundnya belum
Yeah.
masuk.
You are not muted, but I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Ya. Halo Bu Ani. Belum terdengar Bu Ani.
Mada desu.
Mada desu. Saya sudah lupa bahasa Jepang, Nihongo.
Yeah. Last time I think last year one of our I have a Japanese colleague in
Okay.
my office, but
Oh.
he has retired, so now I don't have anyone to talk to.
Oh. Atau Bu Supia mau ini, Bu Supia sedang standby ini. Bu Supia ini legend in our.
No,
Yes.
not legend.
I've sudah baca your thesis, Ci.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
What was it
embarrassing.
on? Is it water, right? Water, right?
Yes, water.
Pesticide.
Fugacity model. or
Fugacity,
pesticide.
yes.
Yeah,
Fugacity
yeah.
modeling.
I
Yeah,
heard
yeah,
your name a lot from Anisang and Fajri-sang.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Is this? Did you not come to Kyoto last time?
Datang
When?
kayaknya ya waktu Bu Ani ini August 2020 ya kalau nggak salah.
Iya, I accompany, saya temani Anisang buat ini apa examination entrance. Berat.
Did we meet?
2020.
Kita pada jumpa ke?
No. 2017
20,
or 18 ya. 2018.
iya.
Hmm.
2018.
So I feel like I've seen you. I mean, I've met you, but I can't remember which occasion.
Iya, lupa. Mohon maaf ya.
Okay.
Belum kedengaran Bu
Bu
Ani.
Ani belum kedengeran, Bu Ani.
Itu mungkin di mic-nya di mic di Zoom-nya dicek apakah pakai apa? Atau pakai laptop.
Iya, mungkin mengawali discussion maybe my Hanisang, because we have maybe the next year we have new curriculum, and we have like in Indonesia we have policy like Merdeka Belajar, Kampus Merdeka. Jadi we want our student to be open-minded, and maybe in the last year in their campus, they can like make internship or research in other institution, or maybe community development or something like that. That's why maybe if we have chance, if you have like internship program or something like that, we are very pleasure if you have any information about how to make like some collaboration, especially in internship, maybe for the first, because we know for maybe our graduate student, or because we are still new, maybe the most realistic program is internship, maybe because some of our students maybe in several years ago also have a broad internship, go to the Scotland or something like that. maybe in Petronas also have like program to, because it's very, now go to Malaysia is very affordable. From Yogyakarta is only like 500,000 rupiah. We can go to KL. It's very cheap. Even go to Sumatra, to my hometown is more expensive rather than go to the KL. It's very cheap now. Maybe because we are also private university, maybe for the cost, if you don't have any funding also, maybe because our student mostly rich, they can like like make yeah, their
Like
own
sharing.
funding, yeah. But if there are funding from Petronas, is very good for us. But if not, if there is any chance to make an internship, we are very pleasure.
Usually for your course, how long is the internship?
Yeah, for now, maybe the old curriculum still like 20 days. It's very short.
Oh, short,
But
so short.
yeah, that's why
But
we want
to
to change.
but
Yeah,
via
please,
the
Bon.
other scheme, but we have other scheme. So we have another scheme. So it's the Merdeka Belajar scheme. So it's possible until 6 months. So 1 semester.
6 months.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
possible to take that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so usually, presently, many students also take this internship, like 6 months internship in many companies. Not necessarily. I mean, it is not. Let's say it's not compulsory. I mean, it is not obligatory for all students, but some students can have. It is possible for them to take this scheme. So they leave the campus for like 6 months during their internship, and we will grant them with the credit for that. So it's up to like 20 credits.
Yeah,
For
20,
this
20
internship.
until 24 credits.
Yeah, 20 to
24 credits for 6 months?
Yes.
Yes, for internship.
So, what are the expectations? I mean, expectations from the student is one. Expectations from the say that if we are going to I mean, expectations from your the employer. Hello.
Hello. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
expectation for from the students.
For the students is one, but also from the employer.
From the employer. So usually, I mean, in regards to the let's say the educational process. So we have of course the students will get the grading also from their supervisor. So it will be like counted in their in their total grade, let's say. So but I mean,